So, it's kind of like, so I'm so much older than you. So you're talking about something nostalgic and you're only 40 what?
43.
So you're 43, talking about something nostalgic. And I'm over there going, oh my God, when I saw Led Zeppelin live,
Yeah.
you guys will never understand what, right? Right? I mean, I think every generation's going to have those, what you missed.
I didn't understand it until now.
Yeah.
And now that, because I'm at this point, like 43, right? Like a lot of my friends have kids. My parents are getting older.
Yeah.
And it's that, I think, appreciation that I have for my parents now, because I've had so many conversations about, oh, this and this and this, and you guys didn't get to experience this, or this music or whatever. And it's like, I feel it now. Like I swim a lot, and I was at the pool, and like you just scan in or whatever, and there's usually like a guy or a young girl from the swim team or whatever. I don't know, this girl's in like college. She called me sir, and it hurt my feelings so bad. Like, yeah, it's just, I'm at that point in life right now where you're like starting to experience those things.
So I just want to tell you, so I'll tell you now where you're going to go next.
Okay, perfect.
Okay,
I want
since
to hear
I'm
it.
there, I go into the Do It Center, DIY, do it yourself. And I go up to checkout, and they go, do you qualify for any discounts? And I go, yeah, I'm an old lady. Can't you, like, why are you even asking?
Just give it to me already.
Just give it to me.
Yeah.
Like, look,
Don't
what
make
more
me-
do I have
yeah,
to do?
don't make
How
me
many
say
more
it.
wrinkles do I have
Yeah.
to have in
Yeah.
order for you to see
Yeah.
that I deserve that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I am so funny now. Well, because I've never, ever cared about how old I was. So I've never, when I turned 30, I didn't care. When I turned 40, I didn't care. When I turned 50, I didn't care. And so for me, it's interesting to embrace that. And I love what you just said about, oh, I'm a sir now.
Yeah, it was like kind of a trip.
Yeah.
Just for a second, and I was like, oh, wow, that's where I'm at. And it was funny because the night before I'd had this conversation, to what you're saying, my mom went into Trader Joe's. She had a big old cart of stuff or whatever, and the guy checking her was like, oh, can I help you to your car? And my mom's like, can I cuss on here? Get the fuck out of here. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't need any help. And my mom's 74, but she was like, I forget what people see. See a little 5'1", 74-year-old.
I'm 75.
Yeah. So but it's just, it has everything to do with your mind and
Everything.
like how you perceive yourself and how do you perceive that? Like, what are you looking at? And I think a lot of people fall into that, oh, I'm old, or I can't do this or whatever because of the time or the age or whatever it is.
That's right. And I think what you just said sort of fall into it. It's this idea you fall when you're not conscious, right?
For sure.
Like I fall if I'm not looking where I'm going and if I'm not, so I'm not intentional. And then you can fall into a mindset because you're not intentional about who and what you want to be at every era of your life. And let's talk about your intentions. So you intended to do what with your life when you were 20?
Ooh, I don't think I had an idea.
Okay, what were you doing? You went to college.
Yeah, I went to
do what?
college because my parents told me to go to college.
Okay,
Like,
so that's
and
not
I kinda,
intentional.
and there wasn't any kind of expectation. It was just, hey, if you take this path, this is the path your mom and I and your stepmom have taken, and it's worked out great for us. And I went, yeah, seems like it has. I'm gonna go do that. And so I went to Long Beach State and got a degree in history. I thought I was going to teach. My mom is a college professor, teacher. She developed all like the Learn to Swim programs at Ventura College, and so I kind of was like, maybe there's something in that direction. But then I kind of got a tiny little taste of it, and I was like, I don't have the patience for this. And then when I moved home from school, I was kind of like, I don't know what I'm going to do. A mentor, friend of my dad, who he was turned into a mentor.
What'd your dad do?
He's in commercial real estate.
Okay.
And kind of in the insurance side of things. His friend who was kind of running one of the companies that was in the area was like, I'm taking you to lunch. I'm going to tell you kind of the opportunities that I have. And before I knew it, I was kind of running my own territory and things were going great. And
For insurance?
Yeah, for insurance.
Okay.
And I kind of made a bunch of money at like 22, 23. And that's what we were kind of talking about before hit the camera. I got all this stuff that I thought I was going to get in my 40s. I got it at like 23. Wow. And it just shattered everything.
Well, that's kind of like some generations now. like some of the young kids.
Oh,
So
yeah,
they'll
some of the kids that
identify
come
with
up
that.
on
Yeah.
that. Because for me, it was, oh, you get this house, you get this job, you have this car, you have these things, you kind of check them off. People are praising you,
That's right.
telling you you're awesome, which is a weird feeling to get praise for something that you don't necessarily enjoy, but you're good at.
It's really hard.
And then I thought, okay, so if I just keep like climbing or like attaining the things and checking the boxes, but I kind of got halfway into it and realized like, okay, so this doesn't, I got these things and it didn't change anything. I woke up the next day and it felt like, okay, I got to start over, or what's the next car, or what's the next watch, or whatever. And I've unpacked all of this now, but it took me a decade to like get to this place of going, okay, these things don't make me happy. This is what I was chasing. Where am I finding fulfillment? How can I chase some of those things? And then kind of went way to the other end of the spectrum and started running foundations and doing all these things. And then kind of got into this point where I was helping other people with what they wanted to do. And I kind of created this niche for myself, and which is great. And I'm still doing components of that. But it was like, okay, what am I going to do for myself? What do I really want to
Right.
do?
Where's the balance?
Yeah. And so it was like, how do I figure out this lifestyle? How do I figure out this, not balancing act, but how do I have it all? Because everybody, oh, you can't have everything.
Love that. How do I have it all?
Yeah. And,
There's
and
a book title.
yeah, I hate it when people go, oh, you can't have it all. Well, why?
Why not?
And you might not get everything, but to have this mindset, or to like set yourself up to, oh, I can only do this.
Yeah, that's just as bad, isn't it? I mean, that's self-fulfilling.
That seems like
worse. It's
prison to
self-fulfilling.
me.
Yeah.
Because I've ended up in this space where I'm allowed to be creative. I'm allowed to be a business person. I'm allowed to kind of have these multiple titles where most people look at and go, oh, this is what I do. And that's great. And you have a ton of expertise in those things. But I want every drop out of life. And like sometimes I'll get halfway down the road on it, trying to like figure something out, and then realize, oh, I don't really like it as much as I thought I did. And so kind of abandon ship and then go over. And some people look at that.
Why don't you stick to something, Matt?
Yeah.
I mean, Matt, you should just sort of focus in on one thing.
And it's so funny how many people say that.
I know.
And I never understood why. Like I understand like the thought process behind it. Like, oh, get really good at one thing and then you're going to have success in that, and that's what's going to lead you to happiness. Which is not
a problem if that's you love that.
Yeah.
If you love that,
and I've already
focus.
done it. Yeah, I already figured that out. And so for me, I'm an enthusiast. Like if I have interest in something, I just want to chase it.
Say that again.
I'm an enthusiast of life.
So an enthusiast as opposed to a pessimist.
Yeah.
Or what would be the author of being unenthusiastic?
Well,
you know what I mean? I love that. I've just never...
It came from this. It came from this place of what we were talking about with Logan.
Yeah.
You go on the internet on anything. I don't care. Kobe and Michael. LeBron. Politics. NFL. Surfing. Tennis. Like all these interest things that I have. It's all negative.
All of it.
All of the time. And I get it. Like I like debating people. I like talking about, all kinds of things. But it's turned into, how do I get clicks? And a lot of that, how do I get content? How do I get engagement, right? Like that's the driver on everything, which I understand. You're trying to sell product, or you're trying to build a business or a community or whatever.
Yeah, well, yours at one time was phone calls.
Yeah, right? Dial
Leads.
for dollars. Like
you used to call them leads.
Yeah, when I started in commercial real estate, dial for dollars. I know if I call 60 people, I'm going to get 3 leads. Out of 3 leads, I'm going to convert 1. So how quickly can I call 60 people, right? The content is the same thing. It's the same game. But people, for whatever reason, engage with all of this like demonstrative conflict that is, it's very distracting, and it's very easy to get addicted to. And if you look at, like so many people talk about, I'm guilty of it too. You get on your phone and then all of a sudden you're like 30 minutes in and you haven't even realized it.
Yeah.
And that's I try to be conscious of that. And like, I look at some of my friends that have like kids, and there's people that are on their phone 12, 13, 14 hours a day. Like,
yeah, it's unbelievable.
and I think it's probably a bigger percentage than most people think.
Yeah.
And it's just wild, because I see the enjoyment out of it, and I see the positive. I do it. I understand the engagement of it, but it just feels like you're just like, what are you doing with life?
Well, you just said it right about enthusiastic. So how is it? So I look at it this way. We can either put a bunch of energy into building ourselves up, trying things, failing, like engaging, or we could just spend that same amount of energy and just put a whole bunch of people down. So if I put them down, by default, I'm doing better.
Until you realize life is a mirror.
Exactly. So that's the racism, sexism, homophobia, it's all of that, right?
Yeah.
Because all I have to do is find a group of people, especially on the internet, and see that they're doing worse than I am, or watch a reality television show and see how, how much they've sold their soul for whatever. And then I don't have to be enthusiastic about anything, because all I'm doing is making sure that I'm just one click above the fray.
Yeah, I think people are just trying to get through the day.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people that
A
are just
lot of
trying to
people.
like go, and like that's numbing. Like, it's easy to put on the Big Bang Theory and sit there and zone out for 7 episodes on TBS.
That's exactly right.
Real easy to do that. Like,
Yeah, when I was a kid, and we talked earlier about, your what were they called?
my pager.
Yeah, pager, and how much you love that and all that. And so
I might go back to it.
you
Still
might have to
thinking
go
about
back.
it.
And how fun would that be for people to say, "Hang on, when I got a page," and they'll go, "What?
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
that?"
I don't know.
Right. Now it looks like one of those things you smoke, right?
Oh,
Whatever
yeah, it
those
looks
things
like
are,
one of
right? It
those
looks like one of
vapes for
those, right?
sure.
Right. So,
That's so
so
funny.
anyway, this idea that when we watch television, there were only 3 channels.
Yeah.
And it was appointment television. Like, you had to,
TV Guide.
right, you had to sit down and wait for Ed Sullivan. It was on at 8
Yeah.
o'clock on Sunday nights, if you wanted to see, and I was there when the Beatles were on. So, and it was that. So we actually couldn't, there just wasn't enough programming at the time. So in my, that would be 60 years. In 60 years, we have changed so dramatically. It's almost, and I know that every generation will
It's
say
just
that.
folding on itself, though.
Exactly.
Because look at how the world is we're in a different version of reality from the iPhone.
Yeah.
From the iPhone present
Yeah.
is, and then, but to
Right.
your point, right? Same thing.
So do you think, one of the things you talked about was you went all the way from making all this money insurance, and then you went all the way back. It's like
Just
the
other
pendulum
end of it,
swing,
yeah.
right? Like, oh, I just want to do whatever makes me feel good.
Yeah.
And that, there's a theory about the pendulum swing in our lives, and that the pendulum swing eventually settles down into the middle, and the Buddhists call it the middle way, sort of finding that middle way. One of the things that I am noticing, Matt, and you talked about it with surfing, you can't digitally surf. I mean, you could. You can
there's
play
a couple
digital
video games.
baseball.
There's a couple of
The
video games that are
you
sick,
can do
but-
that, but
yeah.
you're not going to get wet.
No, it's not that, like, the
Not gonna
surfing
get
is just,
tired.
yeah, it's the whole thing.
Yeah, you're not going to get the same high. You'll get something, but it's not
course.
because it's physical. You're actually going back through your body again, as opposed to just your mind and your thumbs.
Yeah.
Right? So I think I'm noticing that people are starved. They're noticing that they're starved. And I'm getting more requests to go see my horses than ever before.
Yeah.
That people want to go outside with me and go do something.
Just vitamin D.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about, like, we were talking about when I was a little kid,
Yeah.
and I feel so fortunate to have grown up in the late 80s, because summertime, my dad went to work, my mom was going to work. If we were lucky enough to go to a camp, it was maybe for a week or two. We were either going to work with my mom, or it was get the hell out of the house. Somebody on the street will feed you lunch.
That's right.
And be home when the street lights are on. And that was really like the version of reality that we lived. And you learned all these social skills, and you learned how to be present, and you learned how to problem solve, and you learned how to get in trouble, and you learned responsibility. But most importantly, you were outside.
And you were connected. You were a member of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here, I'm not I mean, I think I'm a member of the world, but I'm really not. I'm a member of the world when I'm standing in front of another human being or some animals or the plants or whatever is out there. When you're on that ocean, you are on a part of the world that is more than we have anything else, and that's water and the movement of the tides and everything. You are absolutely part of the natural world at that moment.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing that's addicting. It's the whole thing from, I think there's a lot of people that surf and then there's surfers, and there's that's a distinction, and not to get in the weeds on that, but like surfing is a big part of my life. And it's kind of like how people have yoga.
Yeah.
That are really addicted to it, that are doing it all the time, thinking about it, trying to be better. Surfing's the same thing, and it's about being present.
Totally about being present. So we're now in a studio here at Craft Studios, and downstairs is Craft Boxing. Right. And I can't tell you how many people.
Sorry.
No, Jeez. That's okay. Went down the wrong pipe.
Yeah, wrong. Such an idiot.
There's bones in that water. We just put some bones in there.
So
right
funny.
So this idea that, and some of my own people that I work with, the people I love and care about, are saying, I absolutely have to box now. Like, it does so much for me. So now what we're talking about is we have more pharmaceuticals than we've ever had before to help us feel better. They're actually not supposed to make us feel that much better. They're supposed to just give us an opportunity to do better. Like, it's just supposed to lift us a little bit or calm us down just enough so that we can go surf.
Yeah.
And if we could get everybody back into the rhythm of this world, I talked to you earlier and I said, I bet I have a job. I would gladly not want to sit with anybody, although I don't sit much with people. I go do shit with them. But the point being is that we are not knowing how that pendulum swing has gone so far, and how do we get back to the middle? And you did something that I want to share with everybody. And by the way, you're listening to Matt Coulter, and this is Be Crazy Well. You probably already figured that out because you had to click a button to hear it. So, and we've known Matt for a long time. And Matt, you are the perfect example of, it's called The Second Mountain. And there's a book called The Second Mountain. I don't know if you know this.
I don't.
Okay. So, and I don't know if it's Arthur Brooks or whatever his name was that wrote it. And he made a shitload of money, very famous, and then woke up at like 50 or something and was this, opinion person and author and all this. Woke up to find out that his wife didn't like him anymore and divorced him. His kids wouldn't talk to him. And with all the success, he had lost all the connection that he had wanted in his life or thought. And he got so wrapped up in that, I'm going to be the best, I'm going to do this, that he wrote a book called The Second Mountain. And that's when you finally wake up and go, well, wait a minute. There's more to life than me just doing what I need to do for me, to get that car, to get whatever it is, and all that I need to be a member of the world. I need to be a member of the tribe. I need to help. So you did a whole bunch of that. Tell us. And you did it young.
Yeah, I don't know. Everything for me goes back to traveling. I got to travel at a really young age. Kind of goes back to the surfing a little bit. That was why I started traveling. And I got addicted to it because when I started traveling, some of these places weren't as, a little bit more third world, second world, whatever it may be. And when I came home, I had so much appreciation. And I think I realized how I won the lotto, being born where I was born. And that's kind of maybe an obtuse thought, but as I got older, that became even more of a realization. Where I was born, the parents that I had, the opportunities that I had, all these things. And so being able to travel and see all those things at such a young age, I think I had a lot of gratitude for that. And everything that I was doing that was self-fulfilling was great. I like nice stuff just like everybody. But I started to get it, and it didn't make me happy, or it didn't fulfill. I was like, okay, so I'm getting this stuff, but now that I've gotten a couple of these things, that the feeling that I'm getting isn't the reward really isn't there. Because at some point you get a nice car. I remember I got my first BMW, and I drove it for 6 months, psyched on it, rolling the windows down, making sure everybody could see me, the whole thing, right? And then 6 months in, it kind of just felt like another car. And like that, it took me a while to unpack all of this, but the feeling that I got from doing something for somebody else, my parents had me volunteering. I did some like Special Olympics volunteering.
Was that your first?
Like the first thing, my mom's really good friend, Carol, invited me to some, I was like maybe 4th or 5th grade, something like that. And it was just more of like a, hey, be aware of these things. And I got a funny story about that. I'll share that afterwards. But I remember like getting these feelings of doing things for other people. And that became like, whoa, like I get way more fulfillment out of that. And then that turned into, hey, I helped build this thing and all these people benefited from it. And like people that like really removed, like 2, 3, 4 people removed that are benefiting from this thing. And like, that was where I was like, whoa, okay, how do I do more of that? And then that kind of turned into helping some other friends kind of do the same thing. And then that's evolved from, okay, cool, I enjoy helping other people do their stuff, but how can I do my stuff? And kind of stepping into that and leaning into that.
What was the first thing of your stuff? What was the first thing?
I think probably the baseline of it was the surfing. Okay. And I say that not in like building anything, but just going, hey, I really love this for whatever reason, being present, loving surfing, whatever, the whole culture of it. I'm going to be committed to that because that brings me fulfillment and joy. So how can I carve a life out to where I can do that? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of surfers that have that same sentiment. But then as I started building stuff for other people, you're helping other people fulfill their ideas, which is great.
Right.
And I
so
have
these would be nonprofits?
Yeah, nonprofits, businesses. I help a buddy of mine open a restaurant. Like I have like a skill set that's unique, mm-hmm. right? And helping other people do their stuff is great. I get fulfillment out of that. But I think the thing that I eventually got to was how can I do the stuff that I wanted? I'm doing the surfing thing kind of for like my mental health and just pure like joy. But how can I build other things that I can potentially have a livelihood with? How can I create that balance of like not this, but somewhere in the middle? Mm-hmm. And ultimately, pretty much for the surfing, how can I be in control of my own time for the most part? Yeah. And I've gotten into this situation where, I was running nonprofits in my 20s. And I have so much experience in that space that the thing that I created and that I'm working on now is Agents vs. Cancer. So I grew up in a household, it was sports. My mom was an athlete, my dad was an athlete. I think my sister Carly's a better athlete than me for sure. Grace is just smarter than both of us, so she's kind of got that. And so I just grew up in this house where sports was important and it was fun and we had a lot of family time around that. And the other component of that is I grew up in the real estate business.
That's right.
And so I've kind of always had that kind of going on like an ancillary part of my life, that real estate industry and the business that I've been in, it's been really good for me. It's been good for my dad and my family. So in 2019, my dad got diagnosed with prostate cancer.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and it was real aggressive. It was, obviously you've lived that situation.
Yep, been there.
Yeah, and so I had spent a lot of time in that nonprofit space helping people dealing with cancer and things like that. But when it happened to my dad, my dad's my best friend. Talk to my dad 30 times a day. We're business partners, all these things. And so when that happened to him, I remember seeing him come out. The thing that's really seared in my mind is when he came out of surgery for the first time. I looked down and I was like, shit, like we might not get out of this.
Yeah.
And that was gnarly. That was like,
was really hard.
I'm so fortunate to have both my parents. I have my stepmom, Barbara. Like I have great, beautiful relationships with all of them. And, a lot of people don't have that or aren't close or whatever. And I'm close with all of them and haven't lost anybody yet, And so that was like the first fuck, And so knowing myself well enough, I'm obviously type A. I have 55 things going on. I needed to add something to that equation.
Of course.
So
56 is better than 55.
What I did is I created Agents vs. Cancer, which is a nonprofit specific to the real estate industry. And it's kind of my way of giving back to an industry that has given me and my family so much. And so what we've done is we give we built it for the real estate industry as a whole, but it's specific to residential real estate agents is kind of where we're starting. And so what we've done is we've provided agents a way to support their local cancer community wherever they're at. So we're launching Ventura County, because I live here, LA County, San Diego, Arizona, New York, Florida, and Texas is kind of where we're launching. And the idea is...
Yeah, let's just launch in 10 places.
I'm out of my mind.
Just one.
I'm out of my
yeah,
mind.
But
like,
this
you
kind
are.
of, this that's why we wanted you, because we love you.
Yeah.
Listen, you're certifiable.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a therapist. So be crazy well. That's There you go. You're right in there. There you are.
On brand.
Yeah.
And so the idea is when an agent sells a property, they're always going to thank their client. And the other part of the component is as a real estate agent, you're always, especially in this environment, you're trying to create content. How do I engage with more followers, my people? How do I get referrals?
That's how I get referrals, right?
Right.
Customers.
But it's like on social media, it's like, oh, how many times can you post about closed in escrow, open house? Like it's the same thing. And so what we've done is we've created a way for agents to uniquely support the cancer community. So if you look at something like RE/MAX has the Miracle Home Network, and what they do over the last like decade or so, they've donated like, I think like $100 million, like crazy amounts of money. And so I've participated in that program over the years and always thought it was good, but they were they do great work. I'm not discounting anything, but I thought there was an opportunity to really do it on a large scale. And so I took aspects of that and then aspects of some of the work that I've done in the past with other nonprofits and put it all together for Agents vs. Cancer. And so any agent in any of the areas that we're launching can actually support local cancer communities. So whether it's a hospital, a mid-size nonprofit, whatever
So
it may
they
be,
get to pick it?
they get to select. So we work directly with the nonprofits or hospitals. We work directly with the agents, and so when an escrow closes and you're trying to thank your client, rather than getting them a bottle of wine or a Costco card, which you can obviously do, what you can actually do is go into Agents vs. Cancer and you can make a donation on behalf of your client. So what you do is, if I'm Matt Coulter, real estate agent, and I want to thank my client for letting me represent them on this $2 million house, I just made X amount of dollars on that. What I do is I log on to Agents vs. Cancer, I make a donation to our local charity, whatever that may be. Maybe it's one I'm familiar with, maybe it's the hospital, because we're working with hospitals as well. And they make that donation. Our minimum donation is $50. So whether you're a tiny little newbie agent or you're a seasoned vet, there's a way for you to participate. That donation gets made. We're super transparent on what we do. If you donate $100 to one of these charitable partners, they get 90%, we keep 10% so that we can do what we're doing. And around we go. But the most important part of this is then their client receives a kind of a welcome package to Agents vs. Cancer. Talks to them about the donation that was made in their name by their agent, makes the agent look good, makes them feel great. Talk a little bit about who we are and what we do and why we're doing it and what we're building. And round we go. And so we're really excited about it because it's for agents, but there's a bunch of different ways for industry people, whether you're a roofer, you're a plumber, you're a pest inspector, you're a home warranty person.
Oh, so anybody
can participate. So our hashtag is Agent of Change, and really just inspiring people to go, hey,
you could
this
be
is
a CIA agent, and maybe you could.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to have any kind of agent.
Anything you could think of.
Managers and agents of Hollywood celebrities. Like, you're an agent, you're an agent.
There's a way to participate.
Right, there's a way to participate. So how do they find Agents vs.
So
Cancer?
you just log on to our website. We're obviously present on all social media, and we're building it the grassroots way, kind of slowly but surely.
And it's actually Agents vs. Cancer.
Like a scoreboard, right? Because sports, everything. So it's Agents vs. Cancer.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And the great thing is we provide fundraising pages. So if you're a real estate agent, you get your own landing page within our website. It's a place where you can talk about the community that you share, you work in.
So the agent could have, if they sold 10 houses, there's 10.
Yep. And then it shows how much money they've donated into who, and it's a running live active total.
Right.
And it's just another way for agents to create content, right? So instead of talking about your open houses and stuff, now there's a way to talk about, hey, I just closed this escrow, but we actually got an opportunity to support, our local hospital or nonprofit. And then our internal program, because we're supporting these other nonprofits and hospitals, right?
Right.
Our internal program is called our Ticket Angel program, and what we're doing is providing once-in-a-lifetime experiences to cancer kids and families. So we just were working with Tickets.com and Major League Baseball for spring training out in Arizona. We had 4 families, a bunch of kids and young adults throw out the first pitch for the games, and we've got like a bunch of that stuff lined up with Major League Baseball.
I remembered Logan doing that.
Yeah. So it spurs from that.
Yeah.
So it's look, I'm not smart enough I'm not solving cancer. I'm not doing any of those things, but I got a lot of relationships. And so we've created a real easy way for social workers and child life specialists to nominate kids and families because, as you know, those people are real life angels.
Yep.
They're really the people that are connected to the families when things are going not so good. And so we're working directly with them. We've got about 28 or 29 of those relationships all across the country.
So it's called Ticket
Angel program.
Ticket Angel.
Yeah, so basically just providing experiences. So we just launched this January 1. So we're just kind of really getting it going, but we've already got a relationship with tickets.com. So they're helping provide us tickets and experiences to kids.
So that means, like, if people watch Be Crazy Well, so this is a podcast, right?
Yep.
And Be Crazy Well, at the end of each podcast, could say, if you really like this, if you really appreciate what we're doing here, you can make a donation to Ticket Angel.
Yeah.
Right? Or anything, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, so for those of us that are involved with creating content, and it's so interesting to hear create content as opposed to share wisdom, share,
I think in the best version of reality, that's what it is.
What should be.
But for real estate agents,
yeah,
especially agents that have been in the game a long time, that are going, okay, so I got to sell these houses, I got to generate these relationships, and now I got to be a content creator.
Right.
So we're kind of, what we've done is we create a lot of content, right? So it's easy for them to share, and I'm just creating. This word gets overused so much, and I dislike it, but we really are building a community. Blah blah.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's too much used here because when I first came here, these are new communities. Meaning, I came from an old community in New England. So I think that it goes back to what we were just talking about. Matt, you have always built community.
Yeah, I think looking back on it now,
that's what you do.
It's very evident. Yeah,
you build community,
and
it is hard for people to build community. Especially the further we get up the money chain or the money ladder, the harder it is to actually build community. I think it is much harder. I think when I was growing up poor, there was more community. It's like what you said earlier. I could go and knock on someone's door and they'd feed me because we were part of a real neighborhood and a real community.
Yeah.
And lots has changed, and I won't have to say bad or good all the time.
It's just different.
It's just different, and I think we have to intentionally now build community where it was built in before in our neighborhoods.
Yeah, and it has to be authentic.
It has to be totally honest.
I think that's the thing, like the community, like saturation, the usage of that. I think I value authenticity over everything because it's the one thing that, like, universally you can look at and like, you might not be able to express it, but like, if something is like bullshit or like if there's like real like meaning behind it. And the Agents vs. Cancer thing for me is, it's a perfect blend of my life. It's sports and real estate, and I've kind of put it together in a way like, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to run it in a team fashion. We're really kind of like, I got no ego in it. I just want it to be the best version of what it can be. And I've got some really great people around me already, some people that have helped me over the years, and then a couple new pieces. Yeah, we got a couple. Yeah, exactly. We got a couple people that are really pumped on it, and we've got some great relationships already. So I'm really excited about it. And being in the cancer space for such a long time, I realize like, all these smaller nonprofits, the ones that are built by the moms and the families that have lost somebody or what, they're doing the real work.
I know.
And so I wanted to also build this to support them, because at the top of the food chain for a lot of those organizations is, how am I going to fundraise more? We need more money to do more things.
Yeah.
And so what I really want to be able to do is provide like a thing for people to plug into so that they can go, hey, we're in Dallas or we're in Austin, and we've got these great 3 or 4 nonprofits, and you get a handful of real estate agents that are committed to it. And now all of a sudden those nonprofits have a new stream of income, a new donation, pipeline, so to speak, so that now they can continue to do their work. And so, sure, like anything, you got to put some effort into it, but the momentum we have already, and we've really made it stupid simple. Like, it's real easy to participate. There's a bunch of ways to do it, and the impact is going to be really great.
So the reason why I wanted you in that seat over there is exactly what you just shared about your enthusiasm. So you're a perfect enthusiast. More than that, because you are constant in collaboration and in connection as opposed to competition.
Yeah.
Now, I know you love sports, and I get it. And if you really think about it, connection and teamwork and healthy, what we call healthy competition is wonderful. And when you sit in that chair and share with us how we can literally build community better to help raise money and not be in constant competition for that dollar, like how you just describe that of like, oh, you've got all these wonderful little cancer organizations in Dallas. Now you just need an umbrella, a source of income, and someone to come in and go, oh, well, we're going to, make donations to all of you. Yeah, we're not going to, just do one and then, that.
And I've sat in that seat. I know what it is when somebody gives you $2,500 and you're like, holy shit, like where did that come from? We needed that so bad.
That's right.
And for $2,500 from a dude that just sold a $6 million house, it's nothing.
That's right.
So all of a sudden you become the proponent of all those people's work.
That's right.
And that, like, talking about being present and being addicted to something, being able to like build something and then see all these people benefit from it.
That's great.
The money figures itself out, always has. Took me a long time to learn that.
Right.
But if you build something and you put if you really care about it, it'll figure itself out.
You heard it here. You guys just go on, Google this guy, Matt Coulter. Like, find out about how you can be an enthusiast. And how we really shouldn't even have to say that we're climbing the second mountain. We should just be climbing all the time. And one of the things I learned in the military from all the wonderful men and women that I get to work with is you lift as you climb. You lift as you climb.
Throw the rope back.
Yeah.
That's same thing. That's like what I got told.
That's exactly right. You lift as you climb. So it's this idea that we get to help one another. We get to actually live in community, and we get to surf. Because I'm worried that if you don't surf, then you won't be thinking about all this stuff.
I know I'm a better person after I surf.
That's right. So we want you to surf. You see Matt out there surfing, just give him the wave. Give him the wave, because we need him here. I can't thank you enough for coming in and doing this with me.
That was fun.
Oh, my goodness
gracious. It's been too long anyways. It's
been too long. And Matt was instrumental in supporting our family when Logan was going through his cancer twice, as I've told people before.
Yeah.
You know why you got it twice, Logan? Why is that, Gma? Because we're a family of overachievers, so we had to even bring in some dark humor to get through it. And you have been such a wonderful friend and support to our family.
Same.
So
I love you guys.
We adore you, and we're going to bring you back. And I want everybody, go now, Angel Ticket. And
Agents versus Cancer.
Agents versus Cancer.
And it's our Ticket Angel program.
Oh, Ticket Angel program of Angels.
Yes, it's our internal program.
Got it.
It's still a little confusing. It's a mouthful.
He's like figured there'll be another one.
There.
Pretty soon it will be something else. Vacations Angels or something like that, right?
We'll
figure out other shit, clothing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because I know you're just going to do it. So it's got to be Agents versus Cancer.
.org. .org. Yep.
Oh, we got it. Be crazy well.